Hi, I am David Ruben. Today I'm going to do a video about the new reckless driving law in the state of Maryland. As of October 1, 2025, so if you're watching this video after October 1, 2025, Maryland has drastically changed the law with regard to reckless driving. This is what I mean by that. To explain that, what I'm going to tell you is what reckless driving used to be and what it is now, and why it's so important that you understand that you're going to need a lawyer in the event that you are pulled over for reckless driving. Previously, reckless driving carried with it no jail, a $500 fine maximum, and 6 points on your driving record. Now, as of October 1, 2025, if you're pulled over for reckless driving, it carries with it jail time. That's right. It carries with it maximum penalty. It doesn't mean you're going to go to jail, but it carries with it maximum penalty, 60 days in jail and or a $1,000 fine, and it still carries with it 6 points on your driving record. So that's important, and it's what's called a must appear. When we get regular traffic tickets in the state of Maryland, like a speeding ticket or going through a stop sign or something like that, we're not required to come to court if we don't want to. We can pay it. We call that a prepay or a payable. We can pay it, take the points, and go our merry way. Or we can hire an attorney, like we represent people on a regular basis who don't want to go to court or who have jobs out of state or are too busy to go to court. You can hire an attorney to go to court for you and represent you on what we used to call a payable. With a reckless driving charge now in the state of Maryland, it's called a must appear. You have to go to court, and if you don't go to court for your must appear, you get a bench warrant out for your arrest and you get arrested, and that's not good. You also can hire an attorney, and you should hire an attorney to represent you, but you can't hire an attorney to go without your presence. In other words, you can't say, hey, go represent me, I'm going to stay home, you do what you need to do, like you can with a regular speeding ticket. So that's the first major change with regard to reckless driving in the state of Maryland as of October 1, 2025. More importantly than that, if anything could be more importantly, the definition of reckless driving has changed. Reckless driving has always been defined in Maryland as a person is guilty of reckless driving if that person drives a motor vehicle in a wanton or willful disregard for the safety of persons or property. What does that mean? Well, it means basically if you drive like a maniac on the roads of Maryland, if you're just driving around and not caring about what's happening, it's beyond mere negligence where you're making a mistake, where you're accidentally hurting somebody. You're not being careful. That's what they call negligence. Reckless driving has always been a wanton and willful disregard. You're doing it in such a way that you don't care if anybody else gets hurt. And reckless driving is still defined as that. However, and this is the most important part of this video, reckless driving is now defined if you are going 30 miles over the speed limit, anywhere, anytime, that is automatically defined as reckless driving. And reckless driving, as I just told you a few minutes ago, now carries with it jail time. So what this law has done, what Maryland legislatures have done in an effort to, I presume, make the roads of Maryland safer, is passed a law that says, look, if the speed limit's 45 and you're caught going 75 or over, if the speed limit's 65 and you're caught going 95 or over, 30 miles over the speed limit, you are automatically guilty of reckless driving. And if you are automatically guilty of reckless driving, you are facing a must appear in court and 60 days in jail. Again, does that mean you're going to get 60 days in jail? Probably not for your first offense. But now what Maryland is telling you is that, hey, reckless driving previously, you could pay it, you can get some points on your license, you might get a suspension, not that big of a deal. Now, we're going to treat reckless driving almost like we treat a DUI. DUI, obviously very dangerous, carries with it a year in jail in some circumstances, 60 days in jail in some circumstances. Reckless driving, if you're driving more than 30 miles over the speed limit, Maryland law now considers that just as dangerous or sometimes more dangerous, and perhaps it is, perhaps they're right, than even driving under the influence of alcohol. So what's the bottom line that you need to take out of this? If you are pulled over for reckless driving, if you are charged with going 30 miles over the speed limit or any other reckless driving, you need an attorney to represent you in court. Just like a DUI, you do not want to go into court where you're facing potential jail time without an attorney. That's where we come in. We are here for a free consultation on all traffic offenses. But with this new law, we expect over the next couple of years, there's going to be many more calls for reckless driving. If you are charged with reckless driving, if you are searching on the internet, if you are speaking with your friends and looking for a lawyer, call us, email us, reach out to us. We will explain exactly what you've been charged with, why you need a lawyer. Perhaps maybe you don't need a lawyer in certain circumstances, but that's probably going to be rare, and what the likely outcome is going to be. Now, I will say that as I'm making this video, it's right around October of 2025. So we haven't had any judges interpret this new law. What are judges going to do when they're permitted to put somebody in jail for reckless driving, going over 30 miles an hour over the speed limit? We don't know. If you're going 50 miles over the speed limit, are they going to lock you up for 60 days? Maybe they will. If you're going 31 miles over the speed limit, are they still going to give you a probation before judgment and not give you any points like they previously did for some types of reckless drivings and negligent driving? The answer is we don't know. We're going to go to court, I'm sure, on a weekly, daily basis, figure this out and be able to best advise you. But in the meantime, if you're charged with one of these crimes, if you're charged with reckless driving, you need to give us a call. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you have, free consultation, and take care of it for you.